welcome to another wonderful day for 2019. It's ECAC Overwatch Championship powered by Duncan, where we bring you a lovely show of matches. To anyone who doesn't know, my name is Ken Small. Over here we have the lovely Tornado Fang. And now, before we get started, we need to recap the events we saw yesterday. I think we didn't have the stream, if you did, but we saw quite a few matches go, a nice 3-0 victory. More often than not, it was going to the favored team, but in a few cases, we saw some upsets.
Yeah, honestly, even the 3-0 sweeps, I don't feel like that really showed how competitive some of these games were. Yeah, certainly we had a very first match of the day. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it.
Oh yeah, how can we forget the Rambo Torbjorn? That's what Tommy Nightmares made.
That guy plays Torbjorn like Genji, and all the stuff dreams, like really something to inspire.
Way too much.
Yeah, but it's been a really good set of just collegiate Overwatch games, and I said it yesterday, I'm going to reiterate it today, but you know, this is kind of that fresh, rejuvenated look at Overwatch that I love about college esports, right? Throw the meta right out the window. This is about experimentation, right? Pushing things to the limit, and I feel like this next series, our first semifinal of today, kind of exemplifies that.
Exactly. The first semifinal of today is going to be between Marist College and RPI. Now, Marist College coming into this tournament ranked as the 5th seed versus RPI, the many titans of this competition. Exactly. Saying it's an mouthful, and the game of that is a lot more than just that. They have proven that they deserve that number one spot. Yesterday, I believe they were the only team to successfully pull out because we saw it come out from the side of, I believe, King's University. And they pulled out actually against Marist. And they were destroyed with 3-0 upset action. 5th seed Marist beating the 4th seed Kings. But RPI, they pulled out those competition against Alpha State. They had no problems at all pulling off a massive full hold on King's Road, even forcing C9 Alpha State, which, you know, maybe now is so cool.
You hate to see it, man. At this point, I feel like we're going to see C9, D10, more alphabet, because like we've already seen so many of those kinds of unfortunate situations. But you know, my question moving into today's series is, okay, Marist College, they beat King University, like you said, with non-GOATS composition. We haven't really seen that pure triple support just yet. RPI knows their game is that GOATS game. Are we going to see Marist try to beat them with that composition, or spread their wings a little?
Oh, exactly. And we have to wonder, is Marist going to rely on the incredible prowess of their two deepest players, Emerald and Default? Yesterday we saw Emerald and Default pulling out the Hanzo and Widowmaker respectively and causing absolute mayhem for King's University. They were picking off Anas, they were picking off Zenyatas, they were picking off Zarias, they were picking off the poor metalheads of Reinhardt. Nobody was safe from those dang arrows and those incredible sniper shots.
Yeah, and here's the thing, you can always say, you know, hey, this player's just academy skill, he's just so good, right? He just click out forehead. But it was that team play that really gives me hope that the underdogs have a good shot in their semifinal. Working those angles, setting up the crossfires, right? And you know, good play by their main tank, Taze. I'm not gonna go in there and try to be a hero here. You know, playing main tank, especially with the sniper comp, it's about absorbing that damage, taking that space, making those sightlines available for your damage dealers. So you know, you're kind of like that setup man instead. I think they each understood their roles very well.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we have to consider that Marist did not face much of a challenge up against King's University, and today is going to be the definition of an uphill battle. We thought yesterday was a David versus Goliath for Alfred State, and today we have the same exact concept, so we have to see, is RPI going to falter under the pressure of that double sniper composition? Are they going to falter under the pressure of anything else Marist brings out? Or are they just going to do what we've expected them to do, come in as a #1 seed and just roll through the #5?
It's very possible. We also want to shout out a couple of the players from the side of RPI. Huragok definitely comes to mind.
That Zenyatta was dinking heads and building ultimate charge like it's nobody's business.
And he's actually listed as a DPS player, so that kind of, you know, explains why some of those volleys were landing cross-map. And what I'm hoping to see is if RPI, you know, hopefully Marist can push them to that point where they have to think, you know, are we going to go, you know, mini Jonak, or just throw him on the Widowmaker, right? We just take that sniper head to head, and that's, you know, some of the Overwatch that we haven't been able to see as of yet that I'm really craving.
Yeah, and to your point, we mostly saw RPI pulling out that traditional 3-3 GOATS composition, 3 tanks, 3 supports. Maybe they have other tricks up their sleeve. Maybe they're willing to pull out the Hansa Widowmaker, like you said, match them on sniper v sniper, and maybe they'll just click heads a little bit better than Marist College can.
Yeah. Clicking heads, I mean, wow, what a day when we actually get to talk about, you know, like one-shot kills and that kind of thing.
Well, that whole weekend has been like that. GOATS has been a scarce composition here. We've seen plenty of interesting compositions. We've seen lots of Reinhardt Zarya's only. We've seen 2-2-2 coming out, absolutely flourishing for a lot of these teams. But at the end of the day, the #1 seed, like we said, pulls out that GOATS composition and shows they are practiced and prepared on it. But maybe there's more. Maybe there's a few more secrets under that RPI hat.
It's a pick-your-own-adventure kind of book,
oh,
right?
My favorite kind of book.
Yeah. RPI, you know, this is an experienced veteran team, right? They competed in TESPA and made it all the way to the round of 64, so in the very top echelons of collegiate teams in this country. So, you know, you cannot sleep on this team, even though we say, hey, maybe they play, you know, more standard, maybe they're not going to be like a ton of surprises coming our way, but we've seen flexibility, and we can expect them to keep their heads cool when the pressure mounts. Marist College, you know, we don't have quite as much historical information on them besides their single match yesterday, so we've really yet to see this team challenged.
Yeah, definitely, and we will see a new challenge today. We have not yet seen any series played on Nepal, and that is going to be the first map in this best of 5. Nepal, a control map. It's definitely an interesting map. We have Sanctum, which is going to provide some interesting opportunities for the brand new boot mechanic. Yep, Lucio's Orisa pulls, hog hooks, monkey primal rages. It opens up a lot of possibilities.
And something else to keep in mind, folks, is that this is being played on the live patch. So Baptiste is not available as of yet, but all of those other changes, the buffs, the nerfs are currently here on the playing field. So damage over time, getting that buff, right? And that's going to be a big one, especially if we see Maze come through here on Nepal Village. This is, or rather, oh no, this is actually Shrine. It's deceived me. You can't trust him, you know what I mean?
But so difficult from that dang ship.
Everything's snowy and beautiful here on all 3 rounds, but CI already opening things up with some rockets raining hell from above, 21% up to that barrage. And Marist College, no real surprise here, running that dedicated Reinhardt Zarya GOATS composition. When things get scary though, CI now 56% up to those rockets, and if you can get a very early one, nope, 2 trades coming through already.
Yep, Marist College, they have practiced this triple DPS composition. This time we're seeing the Sombra mixed with the Widowmaker. And CI gets a huge barrage down, takes out one. Unfortunately, cannot pick up any more kills, but Default will do his damnedest to help out his teammate. We see Marist College is trying to pressure this point and take it away from the GOATS composition of RPI. Unfortunately, RPI is holding the point strong right now. The Reinhardt doing his darndest. Misu is trying his best to turn everyone into miso soup, but unfortunately, he is going to be sent back to the kitchen, and we have Marist taking the first point.
This is very, you know, unexpected stuff right here. GOATS composition, especially with the way that RPI was playing it, you're measured, controlled, you pressure the point right away. You're all melee heroes, so that's what you got to do. But CI absolutely opening things up with that barrage, but no longer gets a free trip back to respawn, courtesy of Huragok.
Yep, Huragok, we talked about that Zenyatta. You need to have some good aim to play that hero. Likewise with Widowmaker, creating an opportunity for RPI, and Beefcake and Daddy Derek are joining in on the frag party. Everyone wants a taste of this cake, and unfortunately there is none left for Marist. They're going to try and keep on the point as long as they can, but this goes over to RPI.
Yeah, grabbing back that point almost as quickly as they gave it up. Great adaptation from Marist College. I love this. We know they have the potential. We just got to see them pull out that DPS. However, Harmonix 85% up to that EMP. He wants to target as quickly as possible as Taze tries to make some space.
Taze jumps in, drops the mines, makes everybody here play some Minesweeper, but unfortunately we have some really well-trained gamers. They do not die to the mines, but Misu drops 2 CI's Genji, who trades his own life. This fight is going back into the favor favor of Marist College. They are doing their best to keep this DPS-centric composition effective and useful. A great hack comes down onto the Zarya from RPI, but Beefcake does all the heavy lifting, gets the nano boost, because why does Bob even need it when you have a crazy good Ashe dinking people left, right, and center? Even adds a little punch in for some flair. And Default causing some mayhem at the tail end of this fight, but it will be all for naught as Default just has to get out with his life.
He has to stay alive right here. 72% for RPI. They're in one fight territory. If they can rebuff Marist College once again, they will take this first round. However, easier said than done. Wall hacks now popped by Default. Harmonix forced to translocate before he can use the EMP. CI is hoping for that blade because that is going to be the combo that helps Marist College get in here.
Harmonix is dropped. We have not seen that EMP used yet. That EMP should be used and up by a second time already. That is looking absolutely detrimental to Marist College. These poor lads are going to have to force a fight as it drops to 99%. The overtime is ticked. Default popping off on the Widowmaker, getting 2 picks for his team, and now RPI has to retreat from the point, but it is a calculated retreat as they were just counting their losses, minimizing them, and forcing better opportunities. It's almost over, and this first point of Nepal is going to go over to RPI.
RPI, love it.
Should be RIP if you ask me.
Press F, but RPI right there making the necessary changes. I really like this look. We've seen time and time again all throughout this tournament teams being too stubborn with those compositions. Marist College themselves putting Taze onto the Winston late in that game. Unfortunately, he was on Hammond for so long, you know, through no fault of his own. There was just no way for Marist to really get any meaningful presence on the point against the tanks of RPI. So as we head into Village now, RPI really just want to wrap this up, put that control win in their pocket, but Marist College pulling out Harmonix on the Mei, going to try to make things at least a little bit more difficult.
Marist College did not get a single EMP use during that entire first point. That is a very quickly charging ultimate, and to not use it is a major reason why they could not take it. Now, we see them taking a page out of RPI's book, bringing in the goats, using a Mei to change it up instead of a typical Diva. RPI doing the same, except using their Beefcake Ashe to try and create some butchery along the Marist College lineup. A quick charge is used by Taze, and it may cost him his life. It does, in fact. Sometimes holding shift is the last thing you want to be doing. A wall comes up. Fantastic wall right there, trading out the Reinhardts, and the point goes over to Marist College. Beefcake is dropped by Harmonix. Harmonix looking like the hit scan right now on Mei. Default looking like the carry on Zarya, and the point is looking in control of Marist College.
Harmonix, man. He's singing a song, but it is RPI's funeral dirge right now. Beautiful wall right there. So often we don't see Maze able to get the timing and positioning to cut the tanks apart. RPI now has to make a pretty difficult re-engagement. No real ultimates up just yet. Beefcake's the closest. Already has to get that armor pack from Regan just to stay alive here. Marist College coming into the trance themselves, but that dynamite with the buff to damage over time going to be shredding the armor of the Marist College tanks. Taze gotta stay safe.
Look at Marist College's Zarya. Default almost at that Graviton Surge. Daddy Derek is nearly 30% away. If Marist can capitalize on this ultimate discrepancy, it will pay dividends. And we see a 1-for-1 trade right now. As that Graviton does come out, that is absolutely massive. And this fight is almost a guaranteed win for Marist College. That is why ult economy is so important. If you are able to get your ultimate like a Graviton Surge faster than your opponent, you force them into unsettling territory and win a fight. Now they're almost at 70% on this point, and RPI has yet to even get a single percent.
However, Beefcake now has swapped onto the Diva for the possibility of that grab bomb combo. It's not going to be up, however. Marist College, Cabbage still very far away from the sound barrier. They might need 2 support ultimates against all of these tank.
Oh man, that's a massive shatter by Misu, taking out 2 members of Marist College, and the ultimates are going to keep flowing. RPI has a rally up. They have used their shatter. Are they going to need any more to put away this fight? It does not look like they will. They clean up this fight, do not waste any more ultimates, and they are prepared to attack any kind of retake Marist will be coming with.
Marist has the Blizzard at the ready. RPI, though, grab in their pocket and both of those support ultimates. It's not a guaranteed hold, but that sound barrier will buy you a lot of time, and with the way that Misu has been playing this Reinhardt, he's going to get shattered in no time. Again, this time around, it's going to be an ultimate bonanza. It all comes down to those timings and who's going to pull the trigger first.
Yep, we have an early Graviton Surge by Daddy Derek. They use a wall to try and prevent any damage coming onto them, that being Marist College. And the response Graviton Surge is dropped by default. A Wombo combo comes in with the Mei. A sound barrier is attempted to stop any damage, but that will not work. The Mei freeze is too powerful. That group CC proves to be the detriment of RPI, and Marist College looks all but secure to take map number 2 here on the pole.
RPI will get another chance to touch here, but it's going to be a staggered push no matter what. Marist College, 3 ultimates in hand. This round win in their sights. Oh, Mei, how could
Mei
you?
wall. It may have lost 100 HP, but a Brigida can only do so much with a pool noodle against a giant block of ice. Somebody let Jon Snow that he needs some better weapons to take out those White Walkers.
It wasn't just the Titanic that fell to an iceberg.
Oh man, you hate to hear it, you really do. Oh, but here we are, Evie. This is going to be my favorite map of the 3 on Nepal. It is Nepal Sanctuary. This map allows for some crazy plays, some environmental kills. You really have an opportunity to shine as a Lucio player, so keep an eye on Cabbage and IB Jack respectively for Marist and RPI, seeing what plays they can make with the new Lucio changes that came in, giving him a lot more presence on his own with a lot more wall riding, a lot more speed, and maybe some crazy playmaking potential.
Keep as a main tank, Bias Caster over here, Misu and Daddy Derek as well. The halt and hook, the hug and tug could spell doom for Marist College here, who are going to be running that Sombra Goats composition. So not with nearly as much environmental kill potential as RPI. However, with Huragok on the McCree and Beefcake on the Hanzo, it's all about those angles. An early setup, Cabbage already down.
Beefcake is taking Cabbage out. That poor lad, and a massive purple is dropped onto the entirety of Marist College, but they use the environment to their advantage, while Default uses that stealth to his advantage, taking out Huragok, creating a 5v5, and now a 4v4. This fight is going back and forth. The trade kills are coming in, and it looks like Marist College is going to come out on top of this initial engagement.
Wow, what a flip of fortunes for RPI. Relaxed just a little bit too long when maybe they should have, clenched their sphincters just a little bit more.
I've been clenching it since map 1.
I know, honestly, man. But RPI just kind of didn't take advantage of those windows that they were given with the speed necessary. And now Orisa in a very vulnerable place.
Huragok swapping over to that Soldier 76, another hero that recently saw some buffs to his kit. Oh, and the Shatter comes in just at the tail end of the boop. Taze barely survived it, but will that Shatter prove to be any use to the Marist College lineup? They managed to stagger off some pressure by RPI. A Dragon Strike comes in from Beefcake, separating the Marist College team. Default trying to create any kind of pressure on the back line, but Beefcake takes it straight to the front line, taking out 1, 2 members. Huragok wanting to join in on the fun right now, and these DPS players for RPI are winning them this fight. We see a hook drop down onto Taze, and he gets a taste of metal right to the face, and RPI is going to get a taste of this point for the first time on the Paul Sanctum.
That's not how you want to get your iron supplements for the day. Just throwing it out there, really hurts the teeth. Good re-engage by RPI, and Huragok wielding the Soldier 76 very well. He generally doesn't do much damage even with those buffs. Default, though, could shut down all the lights.
Oh, man, entered from the front. That is not what Sombra wants to be doing. And Misu creates another opportunity for RPI to pressure Marist College. Taze drops, CI drops. Marist College needs to take a step back and try a re-engagement, and Default needs to get some value from this Sombra. Sombra has not gotten any value from Marist College when they've been using it, so they need to prove us wrong and shove RPI back to point.
They're all grouped up right here, but the spy check from Misu works out. He drops it anyways.
We're looking for any kind of engagement from Marist College. The team could not follow up immediately. The broken legs of Soldier proved to be his detriment, and a beat is dropped. Beefcake given that health to drop. Cabbage, Daddy Derek given the nano boost, and a whole heaping of Hog to take out 2 members of RPI. Marist College, they finally got an EMP off, but it was not what they needed. The team could not follow up, and now RPI has a nice stranglehold on the point with only 45% left.
Swaps coming through for Marist College's desperation time here. That Sombra was not working out. The coordination not there for Marist College to put in that throughput damage. Default hoping that, you know, little creepy Reapy could be their ticket to a more competitive matchup. They have ultimates online. Trans, Soundbearer, CI's been holding this grab for so long, he's got to have a cramp.
Finally, CI drops the Graviton Surge onto RPI, and it is a chunky, hunky boy. Default getting some nice value out of this Reaper pick, and the rest of RPI will fall after that clutch Graviton Surge. Marist College now have 3 ultimates in their bank versus RPI's near 0. The only one coming up is Beefcake's Dragon Strike, and he switches off. RPI taking a big risk swapping to Goats right now. They have no ultimates. They need to create some ult economy very quickly, because right now, Marist College, they have the ults they need.
And this is a short map, only 40 seconds, 30 seconds left now, they lose. Beefcake,
oh, the massive shatter! It drops the entirety of RPI. Diva does her best to touch the point, but unfortunately just falls to an infinite pit of doom. RPI now only have 20% left to try and touch this point. Marist College, if they can take an early engagement right here and hold RPI off from getting anywhere near it, they will prevent overtime and take the first map against the #1 seeded RPI. And Misu is dropped incredibly early on to the fight. This Death Blossom is so close. We have to see how he uses it, but it doesn't even matter because RPI is dropped before they can get anywhere near the point. And the Death Blossom comes in. Marist College is going to take map 1 against RPI.
I cannot believe this, Beanies. Marist College racking up that first win of the best of 5 semifinal against our #1 seeded RPI.
Marist College, they showed up ready to fight. They lost round 1 here on Nepal, but then on Village and Sanctum, they secured what they needed to do. They regrouped as a team, and they took the last 2 rounds, now leading to a map #1 win against, again, the #1 seeded RPI.
The RPI, just clean it up, man. Keep those comms flowing. You could tell that there were all those plans, so many ultimates banked up on paper. RPI could have held that point for much, much longer, but Marist College, hey, I'm just going to throw this out there. Was that a debate? Did they just walk into that over and over, you know, lulling RPI into that sense of comfort? Hey, we can throw some more ultimates out here. These guys aren't even playing real Goats right now. This Sombra's not getting any value. Surprise! Pops back in here with the Reaper. And here's the thing. Reaper, we used to see him all the time in those last 3rd point desperation holds, right?
Yep.
And what do you get with the Reaper? Tons of in-your-face damage that you know, sans of Diva Matrix, you can't really do anything about. And sure, he doesn't have any range. He doesn't have a ton of self-sustain, especially with the lifesteal nerf coming in, but what he does afford is that sudden surprise factor. He's in your face, yo, he's got 2 shotguns, right? And apparently infinite more in his coat. So, you know, when it is, you know, do or die time and you're forced to make those last second decisions, you throw a Reaper into your opponent's face, it's very hard to react to.
And specifically on Nepal Sanctum, that is a map with incredibly tight corridors and a lot of corners to play around. Those are the kinds of map that Reaper flourishes on, prevents him from being punished for having no range. And we saw that Marist College played around that perfectly. They opened up that initial point tank with a Graviton Surge, and then they followed it up by keeping the pressure on RPI. They used their ultimates properly and incredibly effectively, and that's what you need to do when you're playing these Goats v Goats compositions.
Yeah, especially in mirror comp kind of situations, value is the name of the game. You know, this is very heartening for Marist College, who again are the just destined underdog in this matchup, to not lose their heads. You know, RPI themselves maybe getting a little bit too comfortable right here. This could be, you know, a trap game for them. They're considered to be the strongest team in the Overwatch series, and so you're thinking about what about the next semifinal, what about the final, who are we going to face there, right? Maybe not 100% focusing on the match right in front of them. We don't know if that's what is happening, but you know, throwing your Zarya on with only 40 seconds left, that is a tall ask even for, you know, owl caliber players like Sinatra, right? You can maybe get a grab within 60 seconds, but we're actually going to take a little bit more of a, you know, 180-second break just for, you know, bathrooms. Everybody stay hydrated. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get Marist College versus RPI right after this break.
Don't miss us. Hello everybody, welcome back to HV GamerCon's 2019 ECAC Overwatch Collegiate Championship. Hope you didn't miss us too much. For those of you who need a reminder, I'm Kenny Beanie Small and I have a 5-star rating as an Uber passenger. This to my left is EV Ham Tornado Fang, and we're going to be bringing you some more action between Marist College and RPI, who we just saw on map number 1, Nepal. RPI nearly beat Marist College, but Marist College came out very strong after dropping round 1 and secured a first map victory here. And now we're going to be going on to Route 66 for map number 2. So Evie, give me your take. What do you expect Route 66 to be like for these two teams?
So this is a map type, kind of similar to Control, where if you get that ball rolling, you can still get some distance by going for those staggers, right? Just maintaining that man advantage. You don't necessarily have to do clean team wipes like you might on, Point A of Hybrid or on an Assault map. So this is going to be RPI's choice of map as well. Loser of the previous round gets to pick the next map. So there must be, some kind of theory coming into this. So we know that Pharah can be very strong here. Long sight lines, especially off of that opening spawn, offer good lines for Widowmakers, Hanzos, and the like.
Specifically likes those long-range carries, so maybe we'll see Huragok getting his choice of hero, a Widowmaker, a Hanzo. Going back on that Zenyatta maybe just to get some head dinks, because, those sounds of getting a headshot as a Zenyatta, very few things sound as good as that.
Super satisfying. Okay, actually, I'm going to raise you one, though.
Okay.
Zarya's getting charge.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. I was the voice actor for Zarya's bubble gaining charge.
Right. Oh, man.
I made those sound effects for those of you who don't know. Jeff Kaplan personally asked me to make them for the game.
Yo, so actually I heard Jeff Kaplan's your dad, right?
Jeff Kaplan is my dad.
I mean, that kind of makes the Zarya voice line thing a little bit cooler, but that's awesome.
Yeah, you know what? It takes a greatness to know some greatness. Something along those lines, But speaking of greatness, both of these colleges are looking to achieve greatness here today. And unfortunately for RPI, they are still 3 wins away from reaching the finals. Marist College, on the other hand, only 2 more map victories to go, and they will be in the finals of the ECAC Overwatch Collegiate Championship. Marist College coming out on an interesting composition. Evie, give me your take on what you're seeing from these teams.
I do like this right here. It's going to be a little bit of the pseudo-protect present. You have the Orisa here on the defense, but RPI going for that dedicated damage dealer move. Beefcake will be applying all those bullets, and Harmonix is doomed!
Melted like it was a Torbjorn ultimate laid down. RPI doing Protect the President so well. There is no assassination coming in on this nice bastion. He is a chunky Beefcake ready to mow down targets. And Pharah, Harmonix was the poor victim to fall first. And now we see Default following in his footsteps. Marist College is giving up Point A here on Route 66 nearly for free.
Yeah, this is going to be a possible re-engage before Point A is captured. And nice hack right here. Takes Daddy Dare out of there. Is going to help Default find those heads. But in the meantime, Beefcake already 64%, 68 now to that tank mode, and nobody can stay in his line of sight more than 2 seconds.
Oh my gosh, RPI is only 0.70 meters away, and Beefcake gets the tank mode, and this is looking grim for Marist College. They lose their diva, and Beefcake gets so into tank mode, the poor lad forgets that he can take damage too. The rest of Marist College is trying to salvage this fight. We have a res coming in onto CI, but we also saw RPI's Bastion get res as well, and Beefcake is providing much more value from that. RPI takes Point A on Route 66 with nearly 0 contesting from Marist College.
Just want to point out some great movement from Predator on that Valking Mercy. By the way, it is very hard to stay alive with all of those bullets flying. So good support work from Marist. However, being the defenders, you don't have the luxury of going back into spawn and changing your composition to whatever you see on the field. Marist College gave it their best shot, and boy, they got rolled. However, Harmonix now will have that EMP. He's 0 for like 6. And this is his time to shut down this Protect the President.
And the huge EMP is dropped onto the entirety of RPI. Sue, Ivy Jack, and Default is going to take every advantage that he can with this. Unfortunately, a Hanzo should not be walking on the ground level. He died, but Harmonix avenges his friend, and the Predator avenges Default as well. We have a back and forth fight here between these two teams, and a Dragon Strike comes out as the Nano Boost is dropped onto Taze. This fight is now going into the favor of Marist College. Look at RPI's health bars. They are dropping so fast. Unfortunately, though, for Marist College, the ultimate economy of RPI will prove to be incredibly useful in the following fights, as the rest of RPI's tank line manages to finally die out after being staggered quite a bit.
Here's the thing with the pirate ship, though. It functions because the Bastion is on the card protected by that Orisa shield. Now that RPI have been moved, they gotta swap up those compositions and give up all of that ultimate charge. Marist College themselves, they're not just holding on to a hope and a prayer. EMP will be within their grasp along with this Valkyrie.
Ooh.
They need time, though, and more importantly, safety from Herogok's snipers.
Beefcake dropping incredibly low there, but fortunately Reagan is showing up as the president, protecting the president in this fight. Herogok gets hacked a little bit, but manages to survive as Valkyrie is being used by RPI. On the side of Marist College, the Primal Rage comes out along with MP Predator's Valkyrie as well. These ultimates are being used with near zero value. As I say that, Ivy Jack gets dropped by the Primal Raging Monkey. Marist College is taking the initial lead in this fight. They are winning a 5v5, and oh no, Harmonix is dropped as Default sends out the Dragon Strike, takes out Misu's Monkey, and Marist is recontesting this point and gaining control back yet again. Another snipe dropped by Default Hanzo. This is fantastic hit scan projectile sniper usage by Marist College. They are proving time and time again that their DPS players can be trusted in the most tense of situations.
Absolutely, Default right there. It's not just about these individual players, but how they work together. Default jumped up in the air. Snipers are most vulnerable when their movement can be predicted. You saw him facing off against Herogok's Widow, who swoops in as he flies into the air. CI with that defense matrix. I want to point it out because that is the reason that Marist College is still holding on to this, even without combos available. They will have EMP, but the barrage comes first.
Beefcake drops a massive barrage and unfortunately pays for it with his life. That will not matter too much as RPI is gaining a strong control of the point, but CI takes the control back, takes out 2 targets from RPI, and now Marist College is looking to recontest this fight. CI pays for that with his life as he tries to control the point away from RPI, and IB Jack takes out CI's Baby Diva, proving that, hey, even an Ana can get a frag or two.
Marist College unfortunately lost both of their healers in the very beginning of that fight, so it's a miracle they've been holding on as long as they have. And look at this Misu right here. Gets hacked, trying to gatekeep Marist College, but they swarm back onto the point with an EMP.
Oh man, Marist College with a huge EMP followed up by Default's tried and true left-clicking on many targets of RPI. Harmonix and Default teaming up to recontest the point for Marist College and give them a moment or two to breathe as the onslaught from RPI is momentarily halted.
Yeah, this is, you know, some big cojones. Oh, Regan!
Regan, there's not a crook.
Regan is not a crook, and also, you know, maybe he should have been wearing like the Siegfried skin. That one has a helmet.
Maybe any kind of bulletproof vest, if that would even work against a Hanzo arrow.
I mean,
I'm not
isn't
sure.
it crazy that all of these street signs stay up when like 800 pounds of like, you know, German engineered armor are falling?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of amazing that wood can support the size of a monkey and a diva mech dropping down onto them. But unfortunately for these two teams, they are trading these fights left and right and cannot withstand the onslaught. RPI proving that these frags are incredibly easy for them to come by. Misu gets a nice kill onto Cabbage. Herogok left alone to try and deal with Default's Hanzo, but that doesn't matter because Default's entire team has fallen apart around him, and RPI is looking to move this payload onto point number 3 here on Route 66.
Still the stagger here. Harmonix finally dropping into the ground, but no, it's still in contestation. There we go. We will see a 3rd point of Route 66. Marist College, though, not working with the full deck, still manages to put up quite the fight because RPI, remember how quickly they rolled point A, now cut down to just a minute and 23 seconds, and they themselves have gone to Costco, wholesale swaps onto the GOAT's composition, so you will see more consistency, but not if you never get up to those ults as a big hack comes in.
Yeah, Harmonix causing many problems for RPI. Hacking the Reinhardt forces the entire team to take a step back and reconsider what they're doing. Harmonix looking to create another opportunity, getting oh so close to that EMP and oh so close to death. Fortunately, just one button press away, and another button press! 6-man EMP by Marist College, and somehow RPI comes out on frags momentarily, but Marist is capitalizing. Oh, I spoke too soon! RPI is turning this around. Possibly, it's going left and right. I can't keep track of what they're doing, and neither can the team. RPI, for a moment there, They looked like they were turning that EMP around, but fortunately for Marist College, they capitalized on that crowd control and took control of the fight.
However, EMP is just a pause button because RPI now ripping back in here with nearly the bomb combo at the ready. Marist College does have a Transcendence to respond, but timing again is going to be crucial. They have to give up a lot of space with Harmonics barely doing tickle damage in the back.
Beefcake dropping down the Graviton Surge, and the Diva combo comes in, picks up one. Cabbage dies, unfortunately, during that engagement, and a massive hack is dropped onto Daddy Derek, who cannot provide any utility for a short time, but that will not matter for RPI. We see a Graviton Surge by Marist College attempting to delay the inevitable, and the Diva Bomb does not do anything as the hack cannot come down onto the Reinhardt from RPI. A Shatter for good measure just sends a little BM message while you're at it because you hit nobody, but it didn't really matter. The staggers are trying to come out, and the massive Harmonix EMP does not prove to be as massive as he had hoped. It capitalized on 6 different targets, but no kills were followed up with, and RPI finishes out Route 66 in pretty convincing fashion.
You do want to go for that full map completion if at all possible. So, you know, that's just kind of more of a ham tornado shatter. You know, that's why I like to say it's in my brand, man. Just hit nothing else new. Style points.
It's a fatty shatty at the end of the day, no matter what.
Yo, you really showed that ground who was boss.
If you hit a shatter at all, regardless of how many people are hit, you have to say it's huge. Regardless of how many people are hit. You say huge shatter, and you just shatter right into a wall.
Yeah.
Still a huge shatter.
It was massive, tons of spread. But RPI, they were held to 0 seconds on the clock. So, Marist College, if they can, you know, finish out Route 66 in a blazing time, get over a minute, RPI will be stuck. Actually, no, they will have time added, but Marist College a definite advantage. I mean, we saw this yesterday with Rialto. First team, you know, struggles a little bit, but finishes out the map. Good. Second team rolls it. 6 times as much time left in the bank, so that's always a possibility. And with that in mind, RPI, again, they trust the beef, man.
Yeah, they're looking for some high-quality beef. Maybe Wagyu, that high-costing meat. Beefcake is given the power in this composition. They're going to do their best to protect the president here on the side of Marist College. While I would be interested in seeing all these different hero picks, it does not look promising for them to continue to use the composition they've laid out. But you know, maybe we'll see another Torbjorn. Yesterday we saw some beautiful Torbjorn play. We saw a beautiful hold on Rialto with it. Unfortunately, Route 66 a little bit different from Rialto, a little more spread out, a little worse for wear for the Torbjorn players.
But since RPI are running that bunker comp, Marist College taking the time to adjust. And I like this. Pharah from above default taking an off angle. Going to be hard for Misu to protect all angles of his flanks with that single immovable shield. Kuragok with the Roadhog, though, has the potential to run defense here by himself. RPI, they're in that position where you kind of just have to sit and wait.
Yeah, definitely. We cannot stress enough that scouting done by Marist College was absolutely crucial. And although default does drop, the pressure is being put onto this Beefcake Bastion, forcing constant relocation. And when Bastion is not in turret mode, his DPS drops insurmountably. RPI manages to recover, manages to take hold again, set up that president, a nice Orisa shield in front of him, and you know, maybe a little bird will fly down on his gun and give him a nice little tweet song.
Very possible. I mean, with all the damage that Marist College is taking, Cabbage 75% already up to that Transcendence. Even with the Discord Orb nerf, the volley has gotten more damage here, so Cabbage going to be crucial in shredding that shield. The Bastion's down.
The president is dropped. CI leading the charge as the Diva to take out Beefcake, and now the rest of RPI are going to fall apart without their president to lead them into battle. Ivy Jack doing his best to rally the troops again, but it will not matter as Marist College finally pushes past the Bastion and looks to capitalize on point 1 on Route 66.
Bastion defenses are all about that rotation. Once the opponents get on top of you, how are you going to react? Are you going to be able to keep that crucial, you know, shield in front of your turret kind of formation? And Marist College, although they didn't set quite the same blazing pace for point A, great response. And again, not just all inning immediately, but measured aggression. Now Harmonic's going to give the Sombra yet another shot. You can get quite a lot of distance here on Streets by, just rotating that EMP with, honestly, any number of other ultimates. EMP into Primal Rage, EMP into Dragon Strike. These are all options on the table for Marist College.
Yep, comboing ultimates is the name of the game in team play. If you can effectively use your ultimate and take out your opponent, then you simply are getting more value out of it than anyone else. Oh, Huragok showing off the flick skills, taking out MP Predator, showing him that he is in fact the prey in this situation. Marist College looking to recontest even without their Mercy in play anymore, and Taze monkeys around with a Primal Rage, letting out his inner and Huragok does not manage to deal with this Primal Raging Gorilla. We can tell that RPI may have been prepared for this fight, but they were not prepared enough. CI drops Reagan's Ana, and Daddy Derek does him even one better, dropping 2 targets on Marist College. Harmonix trying to translocate away, but oh man.
Oh, everybody getting stuck on the environment here.
Harmonix getting away somehow. That was a close one. I can't believe that worked out.
Yeah, that was very close here by Marist College. They started out that fight so strong, but unfortunately RPI just able to hang on a little bit longer. Great play by Taze.
Oh man, those dinks.
Everybody just getting softened up, buttered up by Huragok's sniper scope. I mean, he doesn't even need to pop that in for sight.
It's crazy watching Huragok provide that kind of pressure, even onto a main tank. Multiple headshots to the Winston, albeit they were not fully charged. They still forced the Winston to take a moment and hold back on any engagement he was planning on. We see that engagement finally comes to fruition as Marist College dives onto the top side of Saloon, but they dive a little too far. The hit scan by Huragok and Beefcake providing the DPS needed from RPI, to take out Marist College's lineup. And even now, Cabbage, you can see by his HP bar, he is living with a sliver of health and the rest shield. Someone should really heal up this poor Zenyatta and keep him at maximum HP when possible.
Right now, Huragok kind of just having his pick of the litter right here. Marist College not going for a coordinated dive, but now they have that entering EMP. There we go.
Oh, the EMP is dropped onto a few members of RPI, but it was not enough to cause mayhem. The Transcendence by Cabbage is used, but it cannot save 2 members of Marist College. A 3rd member drops, a 4th. RPI is taking all these ultimates that Marist College used and shoving them right back into their face.
Ouch. Ooh, falling, and he's dead before he hits the ground. Default back to respawn for now. Taze right there. Bob, I feel like, did a little bit more than just something. Knocked the Winston up so that Huragok could shoot him down.
Bob always looking to do something.
Make Bob playable 2019.
Make Bob playable every year. Dang it.
Infrasight now pop by default. Huragok just comes into it too. So again, now the playing field even between these 2 Widows. Predator, though, has that nano boost, but RPI has the Primal Rage. Somebody needs to make that initiation, as we do have a bit of a pause.
Yep, we see a pause coming in from these teams. Technical pause I'm hearing from our lovely, lovely producer on the side over here. Have to make sure that these players are able to perform at the best of their abilities and minimize any sort of equipment malfunctions that could, be the difference between winning and losing some fights.
Especially for Widowmakers. This is actually unlucky for both of our hit scan players. Playing a good Widow is, a large part in that mental state, right?
Yep.
You're warm, you're feeling it, and suddenly you just gotta, walk it off, take some of that edge off. But, Marist College right now, RPI struggled themselves on Streets phase. I feel like these teams, since we haven't seen a concerted dive for so long, still just kind of, warming up, getting into the groove. But for a while, Marist College, Taze, and CI actually on the Diva playing really, really good backline peel. RPI tried to target their, supports time and time again and were rebuffed. It's on the offensive side that Marist College has been struggling so far to make any impact.
Exactly, and the Streets phase on Route 66 is often a very difficult point to take. There are so many different avenues and lines of sight that the defensive side can hold that makes it very difficult for an uncoordinated team or a not-so-confident team to capitalize on. We've seen that Marist College on their offense, they're investing ultimates, they're trying to combo them together, but they're just barely missing the mark.
Yeah, RPI is just, kudos to the strength of their individual players. We talk a lot about the team game, and certainly the synergy is very important. But when you are in those scrappy, I don't know, 3.5v4 kind of situations, it will be up to the individual player to clutch out those moments. And RPI have been holding their own in that regard.
Yeah, Huragok on the Widowmaker, proving that he is a very talented hit scan player, hitting the flicks, hitting the body shots when needed. Sometimes a body shot, even though it's not what you always want, it still applies that pressure. And if you land a body shot or two on a target like a Zenyatta, that still drops them down to 0 HP. And if you have that threat over and over again, it forces the Zenyatta, it forces the Ana, it forces the Sombra to be thinking, am I in this Widow's line of sight?
Right.
Is this Widow going to get that flick on me? And if you can force that pressure and force that mindset onto your opponent, they play differently, and sometimes it's even worse than they had hoped.
Right, you can't play scared against RPI. But Marist College have to be a little bit more apprehensive. Time and time again, they've had their engagements shut down by the mechanical skill of RPI. And, it's just one of those things, Streets phase, when you get the ball rolling, it feels like somebody's cut the brakes to that payload. It's so easy to get more distance. But if you run into that doorstop, that roadblock, getting the engine rolling, shift up out of neutral can be very difficult. Harmonix, again, just 23% to that EMP. Huragok, though, dies drive-by shooting.
That was a very aggressive grapple coming out by Huragok as we left the pause, but that will not matter for RPI as they are going full throttle into this fight. The entirety of the RPI lineup is trying to join in on the kill feed frag fun, and Beefcake may have died at the tail end of that fight, but RPI took enough eliminations for themselves where they were able to push back Marist College, and now we are down to only 45 seconds left. If you keep track of the ultimates available to both of these schools, RPI is at an advantage. The only ultimate for Marist is that Primal Rage, which is used right now to try and pressure out Huragok's Widow.
I mean, this is kind of just flattering. Look how many resources Marist College are investing into shutting down Huragok, but in the meantime, that leaves Cabbage vulnerable to Daddy Derek's self-destruct. However, maybe the damage has finally been done. Oh, the Bash is still alive.
Oh man, RPI is just winning out on so many different engagements. Huragok's Widow is proving to be successful over default, and while he may pay for it with his life, they still manage to succeed on taking out priority targets. Harmonix has that EMP available and is dropping incredibly low, cannot get the EMP off, and Marist College will not even touch the point. RPI holds Marist College on Streets phase of Route 66 and ties up this series 1 map to 1 map.
Beefcake on the Ash. We haven't called out this player's name as much so far in this series, but his Ash and his dynamite usage was a big reason that Marist College, by the time they actually face RPI, they're already choked down to so much health. Between him and the shots from Huragok, Marist College, they just didn't really have a way to close that distance.
Oh, that headshot there at the end. Stanky. Ooh. DSP, where you at? Ooh.
Exactly. RPI right now kind of, proving why they were able to get so far in the TESPA Collegiate Tournament, with this roster. Marist College got their work cut out for them. We know that they have good support coming in from the school right here. They're working as a team, but right now sometimes you just gotta level up.
We have to see which of these schools will be able to summon their inner power-up anime. Shout out to Anime God. You may be gone, but not forgotten. Not dead. Just out of the tournament.
Yeah, no. I mean, that guy's Roadhog, that guy's main tank, was just the stuff of dreams. But Marist College making, some substitutions here. I believe we have Regan coming in. She made a big difference on the flex support. I mean, watch as I cast a curse this, and we're not going to see any more on a play. But we didn't
cross
actually...
our fingers, we don't cause any issues.
My toes, too, right here.
You can't see it, but she is crossing her toes, I promise.
It's very dexterous. But, we didn't actually really see, a lot of, say, like those anti-nades that paved the way for those, quick one fights in yesterday's series. We didn't see, as many pop-off moments from Marist College, who I feel like, we're kind of trying to be like, hey, maybe we're not going to take that, DPS head-to-head. We're going to be a little bit more sneaky, try and get some value out of this Sombra, but the capitalization off of those EMPs just wasn't there.
Exactly. They were not utilizing those ultimates to their fullest potential. We mentioned it during the match. Hello. And unfortunately, while Marist College did come out strong on map number 1, Nepal, on Route 66, they seemed to be a little flustered. It seemed like they were going for these plays that could work out in theory and on paper, but they just didn't come to fruition thanks to the strong defense provided by RPI. But we will be going to a break now again as we prepare for map number 3. This best-of-5 series is incredibly close. We are at a 1-to-1, and we have to see who takes the next lead in this series. Do not touch that browser. Do not touch that clicker. We know it's a mouse now. We're not old anymore. And come back very shortly. Welcome back, everybody. We knew you wouldn't go anywhere. We knew you wouldn't touch those clickers. We knew you wouldn't get those butts out of your seats. So we thank you very much for sticking around here with us.
Clickers, get out of here, old man.
What are you talking about? Mice are clickers nowadays. You click with the left finger, click with that right finger.
I believe you are mistaken, sir.
No, I am not. I'm Beanies. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Beanies.
Haha. But getting back on track, we had a beautiful second map here in this best-of-5 between Marist College and RPI. RPI down 1-0 going on to Route 66, came out with a very strong offense and an even stronger defense to hold Marist College.
Marist College looked like a turtle walking uphill on a piece of glass, trying, but you know, just couldn't ever get that traction, right, to get the ball rolling. I mean, they were running a very capable hit scan of their own default, who is both on the Widow and and the Sombra, but neither of them really seem to work out. And I'm actually going to credit Beefcake's Ash right there.
Yeah.
That's kind of, one of those clutch cards you don't see played very often past, those first point holds where you're, maybe, going for the Orisa kind of setup. But what that ended up doing was, again, chunking down the members of Marist so hard before they even got to the payload where they could, fully engage that, that dynamite damage over time has been buffed against armor in this live patch that we're on. And so Marist College, they just weren't quite able to adjust.
And HVGC as well. Both of the DPS we saw on the side of RPI came up absolutely massive. HVGC taking those Widow 1v1s against default and more often than not coming out on the better end of them. Now, we will be loading into our hybrid map very shortly. The hybrid map is going to be Eichenwald, a map we have yet to see played in this tournament, I believe. So, what do you want to see these teams run on Eichenwald? What kind of compositions could we expect?
Run Emerald on DPS.
Ooh.
It did have a sub come in here. You can kind of see there from the camera, DPS player who really showed up big for Marist College yesterday, especially on Rialto where he shined on the Hanzo. Exactly. Simple geometry. It's not so simple for the rest of us, Emerald. Hopefully he can, plug some of those holes for Marist College in terms of their offensive capability. Because, as you said, Eichenwald, it's a pretty unique map. We haven't really gotten a taste of it so far in this tournament. But, that first point acts essentially as a mini assault objective, right? You have to go for that clean wipe. You can get those trades, find those staggered kills because the defensive respawns are so far away. But this is often where we see, kind of some of the biggest battles. And then again, as we move past that point A and you get that cart finally through that portcullis, we have Streets Phase coming in here, which, often favors a different kind of composition. Yes.
Salute.
RIP. Press F. But... so
or Alt F4.
Maybe not that one. But Marist College, again, this is a team that has flexibility, has depth of hero pool. So RPI have, once again, raised the bar. Can Marist College reach it?
Now we can see that the sub by Marist College is Emerald coming out on the Zenyatta pick. I don't believe we saw him play Zenyatta yesterday. He was a shining star on Hanzo, but we'll have to see if these orbs of Harmony and Discord can shine just as bright. RPI, on the other hand, are going to be taking a typical look. They look like they were going for something a little funky, but ultimately choose to go back onto the strongest GOATs composition, that 3 tank, 3 support lineup, with the Zenyatta as that 3rd support instead of maybe a Moira or an Ana. So we have to see how they choose to take this first point.
This is actually going to be a pretty big matchup. Even though they're not on DPS, HVGC and Emerald going to have each other's numbers here. Both of them trying to do the same thing, chunk down those shields, chunk down those HP pools, using their aim to the max.
Yep, and now the point is going to be the location of the first fight. Default opening up with a nice pick down onto Reagan, and it looks like, oh man, it looks like the point is captured incredibly quickly. CI is trying to get away after fragging out, and man, 100 charge Zarya is a very, very, very difficult target to take down, and we can see that RPI is holding on to this point with the last semblance of attack they really have, but they'll be forced back to spawn and have to retake this engagement as they, get to push the payload. A very quick take, I must say, by the attacking team of RPI.
Yeah, RPI lost their Vegeta right off the bat, and it's kind of like losing a little mini Reinhardt here. Since you're running pure GOATs, you really need that full 6-man death ball, but Taze is already down, and RPI fighting back.
Man, RPI, a huge counter charge coming in by RPI's Misu Toretta, excuse me, and the rest of the stagger kills are going to drop down onto Marist College. The beginning portions of point 2 here on Eichenwald are going to be absolutely free for RPI. And if you take a look at the ultimate economy we have coming up, RPI may look very strong with their 2, 3, 4 ultimates coming in, but Marist College is going to be able to respond with nearly 6 ultimates in the bank.
Yeah, just the one to keep an eye on is going to be this EMP from Default. He has the ability to tempo the fight for Marist College.
Default dropped a 6-person EMP, and we see 3 ultimates used. Marist College telling half of their lineup, just hit Q and we'll go from there, and dang it, it worked out fantastically.
Sometimes you just need that extra little bump EMP to set up that Graviton Surge. Make sure that Daddy Derek is not going to be gobbling up that, you know, infinite black hole. But that means that Marist College has, you know, whittled themselves down to just those 3 defensive ultimates. They don't really have any options to push forward, you know, proactively. Plus RPI, nearly the 6-pack up.
Oh, we start off with a shatter coming in by Misu. Beefcake taking out Predator on that Brigitte. But Taze with a big man charge, taking IV Jax, Lucio out. The Graviton Surge will follow with a beat following that. Oh man, that boot mechanic that was recently changed coming huge as Azaria is suffering an unfortunate fate of falling to the bottomless pit of this bridge on Eichenwald.
Right after Cabbage got his own beautiful boof, RPI looking set to capture this point B with very little resistance from Marist College.
Oh, as you say that, Marist College is going for one more engagement, and they are stopped in their tracks. That poor Reinhardt for Marist College is just met with a Brigitte charge, and he is knocked to the floor. RPI controlling this point wonderfully, and the Brigitte boop takes their own Reinhardt out of the map. Oh man, Cabbage is getting another boop down onto RPI. This Lucio is fragging out and proving to be an absolutely massive playmaker. But unfortunately, massive is not big enough as RPI moves onto point 3 with 4.5 minutes left in their time bank.
However, that charge in from Taze, the last second desperation defense, did draw that Transcendence out from Huragok. So while Beefcake will have the grab, RPI will have no response to CI's own Graviton Surge.
Speaking of that Graviton Surge, RPI uses it, but they are met with a 6-man EMP. Unfortunately, the EMP came just too late as RPI had already decisively won that fight, and now we're almost at the halfway, we're already past the halfway point of point number 3 on Eichenwald. 4 minutes left in the time bank. Marist College has to mount a defense here. They have their Reinhardt shatter. They have CI's Graviton Surge. Emerald's Transcendence is going to be coming up very shortly. And there we are. We opened up with a Graviton Surge by CI. A beautiful block is done by Taze, and the rest of RPI will have to fall after an unsuccessful shatter. And finally, Marist College is given a second to take a deep breath and try and prepare for this incredibly long 3.5-minute defense they have here at the end of point 3.
And right out of spawn, Default also manages to escape with his life intact. What an individual play from Marist College.
That stagger.
Is a great move. RPI, they need that win taken out of their sails if Marist College is going to be successful in their defense. They managed to stop the execution for now, and we'll have both Emerald's Trans and the Sound Barrier from Cabbage here, but RPI have shown that they have no problem with coming in here aggressively.
Oh man, Default on the Sombra was so close to that EMP from behind, unfortunately just at 98%. We see that EMP finally comes in, and a fat shatter is dropped onto RPI. They are all hacked. Taze is having an absolute field day, swinging left and right, left and right. Unfortunately, RPI is swept back.
Oh, RPI. You know, there's still 2 minutes and 35 seconds left. Do not count this team out at all, but this stagger onto Daddy Derek. Oh, 98%. He might actually get this mech back, which would be a big turn in fortunes for RPI. He manages to stay alive, and that means he's going to be holding on to that bomb combo with Beefcake. Marist College, they've successfully won one defense, but Default's still trying to get yet another EMP.
RPI, look at that ultimate Default causing mayhem in the backline, taking Reagan out. That poor Brigitte had nothing to do against the range that Sombra provides. Oh man, Marist College, they went a little too aggressive with Cabbage paying for that. We can look at the ultimate charge though by RPI. They have 5 ultimates in the bank to just push the payload a measly, maybe 20 meters to the end. All they have to do is cycle these ultimates, and they start off with a Graviton Surge, but there's going to be no shatter. That will not matter though, because Daddy Derek shows up and takes control with a Diva Bomb. Transcendence comes in from Emerald, but that may be a little too late, as all it is going to do is just delay the inevitable. RPI racking up kills left, right, and center. This poor Reinhardt is doing everything he can to get to the point, and he cannot touch it.
Default, though, gets a kill onto Huragok. It's going to be most of the healing gone from RPI. Marist College still have a hope, and the shatter comes a beautiful bubble from CI. It is still alive for this defense. However, there's not going to be any follow-through damage. CI finds himself all by his lonesome.
we can now tell that RPI has come prepared to fight. That first map may have been a stumble, but they found their footing and they finish out Eichenwald with a fantastic offensive push.
Oh man, RPI, Daddy Derek fighting the absolute perfect timing for that bomb. Shuts down Cabbage's sound barrier before it's cast. What timing, man. We're gonna give the credit to the off-tank player right there, although it's kind of just a fall of the cards for RPI, because Marist College, they had the tools to continue to hold. You pop that sound barrier, nullifies both that grab and the bomb combo right afterwards. Emerald can save that trance for any potential shatters coming in. Marist College, you could tell the execution was just a little bit lacking from a well-set plan.
Yeah, it was, unfortunately, for Marist College. They will now have to finish out Eichenwald to match RPI's push. Marist College, they have a tall task ahead of them. As we saw earlier on in RPI's push, they took that first point with incredible ease. And for those of you who play CompQ, understand that hybrid maps, while they may look easy on paper, in actual practice, you cannot just expect to take these maps easy peasy lemon squeezy. Sometimes it might make you a little queasy. Sometimes it might make you feel a little uneasy. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's all just going to be breezy for the team that finishes this out.
Yeah, I mean, don't quit your day job. I'm just kidding. No, that was,
Don't tell me what to do.
I would never tell you what to do, sir.
I'm going to pursue my passion of rhyming unnecessarily.
Hey, I mean, here's the thing. RPI, whatever it is, they found their mojo. Even though Regan was falling to the hacks of the Sombra, getting taken out very early on, RPI, they just didn't commit. They held their horses back until the right moment. Now it's pressure on Marist College's shoulders. They must also finish out this map, or RPI going to take a pretty decisive lead.
Taze looking like a limp biscuit, just rolling. Unfortunately, the rest of Marist College was left in his dust, and Cabbage will pay the price for it. This push by Marist College with Emerald in their lineup. They will now be running a triple DPS composition again. Emerald was a standout player for Marist College yesterday, playing that Hanzo. This exact pick is what pushed them past King's University with such ease. Will it have the same effect for them against RPI?
You have to remember, though, Marist College not running a Zarya to help set up those Dragon Strike combo kills, so Emerald's going to have to find that those heads the good old-fashioned way. Sonic Arrow, which also has been buffed, letting him know exactly where RPI is stationed here. CI, though, great poop off, removes that shield, and he's going to have barrage in no time.
Oh, the Reinhardt is dropped for RPI. All CI has to do is get out of this engagement, and it looks all crystal clear and bright blue. CI drops one, and that might be all that they need. They get another. Daddy Derek drops. That poor bunny is not looking too clean. Oh man. Beefcake served up with a side of coleslaw. That direct impact was fantastic. And I talked about this point not being very easy to take, but Marist College making it look just as easy.
I've never been so happy to eat my words here. You wouldn't think that this Hammond would work so well with the DPS that Marist College are running, but I just want to point out a moment where Taze, as a main tank, rolled through RPI. Conch Blast didn't work for the Pharah, but hey, I still got your back, Holmes. Boops them down to allow that rocket damage to come through, but now CI is done with the bird up in the sky. He wants that Cybernetics Ninja cosplay instead.
We have to see how this Genji will work out. It is a fantastic pick to deal with Huragok's Widow. The ball by Taze rolls down on the point and slams, but Huragok is not phased by that giant hamster. Takes out Emerald. The fight will now be a 5v6. As Marist College is going to have to disengage, but Bob stands tall, takes out Beefcake, and gives Marist College an opportunity to have a quick re-engage on the point until that res comes in, making this yet another 6v6.
Well-protected resurrection from RPI, ensuring that the Mercy would stay alive. Beefcake now has that grab.
Minesweeper is coming into play yet again, looking like Windows 97 right now. Marist College takes out two members of RPI. This Genji is doing his exact job, forcing that Widow to feel uneasy, never feel safe. If that Widow cannot set up in priority lines of sight, she's not going to get value, and that's exactly why CI is playing as Genji.
If you allow Huragok to just play Duck Hunt, you are asking to be ventilated. We'll have the wall hacks here for RPI along with the Valkyrie from Reagan, but Marist College, making pretty good progress here, and CI will have the Dragon Blade for this next fight.
Emerald has that Dragon Strike in play. Now, while there is no Graviton Surge available, Emerald can use that Dragon Strike as a zoning ultimate. Some people like to meme about ultimates being zoning if they miss, but ultimately Dragon Strike, not only will it cause immense amount of damage if it goes through your team, but it blocks everyone's line of sight. If you chuck that Dragon Strike through an enemy team and they split up unfavorably, they cannot even see their teammates.
I never knew that dragons were considered, you know, herding animals, but that's exactly what this ultimate can do. You know, herd them right into a bomb from default, into a blade from CI. But as of right now, RPI have the tank ultimates to continue to hold this, and BPK have to swap it onto the Reaper.
An interesting pick.
I mean, Marist College are running only 2 dive tanks, and they're not going to need that Reaper though. Bomb picks up 1.
Marist College losing their team after that fantastic bomb. Beefcake on this Reaper. Reaper does in fact charge his ultimate kind of slowly compared to other heroes in the game, but if he's able to cause mayhem in the backline and consistently get chunky pellet shots onto these tanks from Marist College, that being Default's Diva and Taze Winston, that ultimate charge will go up incredible. Look, as I say that, he goes up nearly double his percentage by getting a few hits onto these easy tanks. That's all you need to do. 92%. CI uses a Dragon Blade, but unfortunately the beat was perfectly timed. Oh man, almost takes out the Mercy. Beefcake is absolutely flexing on Marist College right now with this Reaper.
Man, this guy knows his meat right here, but Predator popping that Valkyrie, helping tempo that fight, keep CI, keep the rest of Marist College alive. They've actually gotten, you know, a little bit more free distance here. Huragok trying to make some space by buttering up the players of Marist College, but it might be all for naught if Emerald can get a good Dragon Strike and force RPI off the court.
Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go! A Reaper ultimate comes in!
Sound barrier!
It is countered absolutely beautifully by Marist College. The sound barrier and the DM did everything they needed to prevent that Death Blossom from causing all that mayhem. Unfortunately though, RPI has other threats you have to deal with, and those threats came into play fantastically.
Yes, we've nullified the beef, but there's still a Widowmaker. World's pointiest French lady, as one of the most deadly, I just say. But RPI...
She makes widows, what do you say?
Exactly. RPI now, they've cut down the time bank to less than a minute. Marist College have to make this happen here, and it is way more difficult to do than just throw out their Predator now trying to enable those DPS, maybe chip in with a little bit of DPS on his own with this Ana pick, but with only 30 seconds left.
What are they going to do? I guess they're going to switch to a traditional 2-2-2 composition. Marist College putting CI onto the Diva. Default wins out on the Widow 1v1. This is fantastic if he can survive, but unfortunately he drops. The 5v5 is now into play. This is going to be the last fight for Marist College. A Dragon Strike comes in, but it does not get all the effectiveness that they wanted. A beat is dropped, and Beefcake runs mayhem through the backline of Marist College, Death Blossoming both supports, and as the clock ticks down, RPI is going to secure a map number 3 victory and go up 2-1 in this best of 5 series.
RPI just 2 steps ahead of Marist College time and time again. What an unfortunate, just a bit of unluckiness. Boom. Swapping onto the Ana when you really would have liked that res. But still some great plays made by Marist College as we check out this play of the game.
Oh, that Dragon Strike got every single member of RPI.
That's like one of those feel-good things, man. You throw that Fire Strike out there, 2 kills. It's like the 2K charge kills. Just
exactly.
Bang for your buck.
And you can hear every person that the Fire Strike goes through. And so you get to hear... I think that was 6, but that's exactly what it sounds like. I also did the sound effect for the Dragon Strike, if you can't tell. Or Fire Strike, excuse me.
Oh, I totally can. But RPI right now kind of showing that, while they did have, a look per, quote unquote, they have, tons of flexibility themselves, and, more than that, they look very comfortable playing off-meta heroes.
Yep, we saw Marist College come ready to perform on the control map of Nepal, but ever since we entered the payload territory, it seems like RPI is much more prepared and practiced on dealing with these kinds of maps. Evie, how do these kinds of maps differ? Why are we seeing more effectiveness by Marist on the control map, but then when it comes to payload, it's RPI's show?
Yeah, so control is very unique among the 4 map types in Overwatch. It really favors, it generally favors the underdog, right?
Yep.
You get that first control of the point, and, if you have have that down lock, all you have to do is look for kills here and there. You don't necessarily need the same coordination, that same heads-up play that you would to win the team fights that you see on payload-type maps, or especially on Assault, which we will be headed to next.
Ooh,
Marist College's choice, or 8 CP, we might see a few extra innings. But, Marist College is going to be their choice. Hey, Emerald. But here's the thing, right? The Widowmaker did not work out. The Hanzo Maker. He probably makes Widows too,
Hanzo Baker. Ooh, next skin.
I hope so. But, Widow, Hanzo didn't quite work. Those looks that we praised Marist for and that they were certainly, arguably most comfortable on in their win yesterday have been coming up with Buck Piss.
Exactly. They are facing a tough challenge that was not presented to them yesterday. And now, with their backs against the wall, Marist College is in a do-or-die situation. RPI, on the other hand, looking to take this series 3-1 and secure a spot in the grand finals here at the ECAC Overwatch Collegiate Championship at HV GamersCon. But before we can get to that, we're going to have to take a quick break. So again, do not touch that clicker. I am not an old man, and I will miss you dearly.
67.
Welcome back. We are still here. We are still ready for some fantastic collegiate Overwatch. We are watching Marist College try and climb back from the 2-1 deficit they find themselves in against RPI. RPI being the #1 seed in this tournament, Marist College the #5, definitely in the favor of our #1 seed. But we saw some life from Marist College early on. We need to see if that spark will come back. And Evie, this next map is going to be Volskaya Industries. How do you think Marist College can come back from this?
We got to look for that team play. So the worrying thing here is their best looks yesterday. One of the reasons that we really fell in love with this team, the Hanzo, the Widowmaker, right? That DPS play has not been buying them a whole lot of coupons, right? So this is when you have to dig deep. Yo, I can't do this by myself. How are we going to be able to find that team play? Because Marist excels at defensive play. The peel coming in from the D.Va and the Winston, CI, and Taze has been amazing.
Yeah.
However, you know, a good defense will only get you so far, especially when we're talking about maps like Volskaya. Point A, you know, it's almost guaranteed that even the best team will eventually give up that point. Then you got to, you know, be able to complete the map yourself. And offense has, you know, been the struggle point for Marist so far.
Exactly. Point A on Volskaya Industries can play in the favor of what Marist likes to run, that DPS-centric composition. But once you get to the close-knit corridors of Point B on Volskaya, it becomes a much more 3-3 favored area. All the tight chokes, the lower ceiling of the map, and the fact that you're indoors, it just does not favor these DPS comps. So it will have to be Marist College either A, beating RPI at that goats v goats, or B, pulling out their own kind of Gouda cheese and pulling a sweet victory, capitalizing on RPI mistakes maybe, or forcing them into those mistakes that we talk about. You know, Dragon Strike being one of those ultimates, Emerald a fantastic Hanzo. If he can utilize that to, as you said, herd RPI into an unfavorable position, that's exactly what you need on these 2 CP maps to create advantages.
Yeah, because the defensive respawns are so, you know, favored on Point B especially, that you can't, you can't win one fight and expect you're going to take the point. It's got to be 2 fights, maybe 3 fights, even 4 fights. So you cannot open these, these engagements by everybody just smashing Q. There's always got to be a little something left in the tank for those in case of kind of scenarios. And RPI, boy, they got clutch potential in spades. Marist College, just got to dig deep right here as we take a look at that lineup. RPI right now, it feels like they still really haven't yet felt that pressure. They control the tempo of these fights so well. Even when, Marist College do get a pick here or there, somehow RPI are always able to bring things back with the individual skill of their players.
Exactly, and we do see moments of life from Marist College. We see them playing fantastically around the threats of RPI. We can focus on the fact that they timed that Death Blossom perfectly with their Lucio beat, with the D.Va DM. But unfortunately, using those resources to focus down the Death Blossom opened them up for the Widowmaker of Huragok to just rain hell down onto them.
Exactly. RPI are the ones forcing Marist College's hand, and not the other way around. As well as Marist has been reacting, we got to see, what they can bring on the other side of the aisle. Are they going to be able to make windows of opportunities themselves, be proactive in both their attack and their defense? Because you sit back on your heels long enough against RPI and they're just going to push you over.
Exactly, and they're not just going to push you over, they're going to Reinhardt charge you over. These boys and girls on RPI know how to capitalize on an advantage. On both of our payload maps, that being Route 66 and Eichenwald, we saw them push the map all the way to the end, and unfortunately Marist College couldn't even get past second point both times. This is proving to be very, very detrimental to Marist College's hopes. Luckily for them, in this 5-game set, we will not see another payload map, with Assault coming up next, and the 5th map being a control map. So that may play into their favor. We have to see how they will adapt on a 2CP map.
This is their choice as well, Volskaya. So if we harken back to meta's past, Winston D.Va dual sniper defenses were very popular, especially on that first point. Long sight lines that you can use to funnel the enemy through, butter them up again before they actually put pressure on the objective. And if Marist College are going to put up, a struggle here on Volskaya, that's going to be how they do it. I mean, that's at least my hope. I have absolutely been Jabate and Caster Curse many a time before.
I mean, honestly, it feels like every time we try and make a prediction, we are rolling the dice on that Caster Curse. And sometimes you roll a natural 1, a critical fail, and next thing you know, everything that could be happening badly is going to happen. Other times, you roll that natural 20, and you look like an absolute genius, and it was all intentional. Wink, wink.
Yeah, RPI, you know, maybe the stars have been aligned because they've been finding those combos and moments far more than Marist College so far. But never say die. This is a team full of verve, energy, and stamina. Marist College, they're going to be running that Sombra Goats defense again here on snowy Volskaya, hoping to find a little bit more traction on all of this ice over here. But unless they change up, you know, kind of those, you know, gameplay styles, we might not be seeing anything different than what we sampled on ice.
We are going to see these initial compositions by both teams. RPI on the attack, coming out in what we know they love to run, a Zenyatta Ghost. On the other hand, Marist College sticking to this Sombra Ghost, and so far looking fantastic, picking off Hergok on the Zenyatta and delaying this first push by RPI.
This is what you do. If you're not confident that you can win those bang out team fights, just keep chipping away. Chipping away.
Chippendale.
Your words, not mine, but you know, RPI, as long as you continue to frustrate them on your own attacking ground, you can put a stop to this roll. Find that win condition for yourself. Default though, looking for a hack target right here.
Oh, almost gets the hack and does manage to get the hack onto Misu's Reinhardt. That is detrimental to any kind of offense RPI wants to run. They have to wait out those seconds that the hack is down and regroup. Both projectile bubbles are used by Zarya. Default getting another pick onto Hergok's Zenyatta. This is absolutely huge for Marist College. Unfortunately though, Taze gets a little bit too aggressive, pays for it by using his left shift into the entirety of RPI and loses his life.
And that's the go signal for Regan to pop that rally. She's buffering all of RPI, and Misu gets the better charge onto Emerald.
Don't do it. Oh man, Default, do not hit that Q. This is a lost fight for Marist College. They can try and salvage it as best as they can, but ultimately this point is going to fall. RPI is going to take point A, and now Marist College has to defend point B. We already talked about point A on Volskaya is a very easy point to take. Typically, you will see teams successfully take that in a team setting. But once you get to point B, that's where it really gets difficult for an offense. That's where your team play, your team communication, and your synergy as a whole come into play. And if you cannot succeed on those fronts, you will not take this point.
Marist College have the tools here, but are they trying to sew with a monkey wrench? We got to see that execution.
Oh man, that is a massive EMP Shatter combination, one of the deadliest combos in Overwatch. RPI dropped all their health bars to 0 as Marist College, only using 2 ultimates, managed to hold off the first attack by RPI, which tradition tells us is usually the most threatening attack that can come onto point B.
That's when the snowball is most deadly, not soft and squishy at all. But Marist College have bought just a pause button with that EMP, unless the stagger kill comes through.
Another stagger! Default is causing absolute mayhem for Hergok on that Zenyatta. That is 3 times this map that Hergok has dropped before RPI has gotten anywhere near the point.
Yo, man, I would definitely just swap to Moira, but that's why I am not an Overwatch player. I flap my gums about it instead. Hergok, though, gonna give it another try here, but Default already waiting. Trap set. RPI, though, have the ability to scout him out there. Has he been detected? No, doesn't look like it. They're walking back right into the hands of Marist College once again.
Hacking Hergok. That Zenyatta will not have a Transcendence available for quite some time. But Daddy Derek doesn't need any Transcendence. He takes the fight into his own hands, downing 2 members, and a huge shatter comes down from Misu, dropping the entire Marist lineup one after another. This point is already ticking. 1 takedown for RPI, looking to secure the second. That is done. Will the regroup come in? Will Marist be able to recontest? Harmonix touches the point, but unfortunately, that EMP will not matter at all. An absolute massive snowball by RPI, taking Volskaya on their first attack.
RPI running a masterclass in how you focus the tanks out of the fight. Great play right there by RPI because, yo, I would be tilted as balls if I kept getting my Zen picked off time and time again. But Regan,
oh, man,
this
I can already
Brigitte,
picture how that feels.
This Brigitte doing her job right here. You know, originally, Overwatch, you know, put Brigitte into this game to be that backline defender in response to dive, right? She ended up getting a lot of value being the frontline brawler, setting up for those bash shatter combos, etc. But here we saw her shining in that original role, protecting her Zenyatta. Yo, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you know, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, ain't gonna happen. RPI
honey,
shutting things down for Marist College, and the way that, you know, we saw the charge from Misu come in, isolating Taze, not only setting up for Daddy Derek's big bomb, but taking the Reinhardt out of the equation entirely. Marist College, because they're running default on the Sombra, don't actually, you know, they're actually relying a lot on the hammer damage from Taze. So with him out of the fight, he's not even dead, right? He's just not around to chip in, and RPI made hay with that window of opportunity.
Exactly. We saw Marist College was able to cause a little bit of a distraction we talked about by taking out Heragog Zenyatta numerous times, but it still felt like RPI was controlling the tempo of these fights. They may have lost the initial push onto point B, but they came in prepared. They got the Graviton Surge down. They got the Daddy Derek Diva Bomb. Oh, that's a mouthful. And they got Objective B. Now it's Marist College's turn, though, to try and return that favor and take Objective A as quickly, if not quicker, than RPI was able to.
Tough battle ahead. RPI actually have 22 more seconds than the game gives you to start. So, you know, that just kind of goes to show how dominant that second push was. And Misu, 83% to an Earth Shatter.
Oh my god, 100% on that Reinhardt Shatter. The 4 lads on Marist College, just compare the ultimate charge on RPI's Reinhardt versus Marist College's Reinhardt. Actually over double the ultimate charge until we get to 51%. Still, RPI, they have this advantage, but it will not mean anything if they do not use it before Marist College gets their Shatter up as well. We have to see how they are prepared to use this advantage they have and push it even farther.
Oh, I thought we might get to see one of those Reddit flanking shatters, but we might.
Oh, we might. Let's go.
He's in the backline. Nobody's seeing him.
Oh man, we see 3 members drop on the side of Marist College. A charge comes in, and even with the boops hitting Misu, he is still able to focus down the Brigitte, charge her in, and that got incredible value for RPI. 1 ultimate, a full team wipe, and still the ultimate economy is going into the favor of RPI.
He's already almost 40% to another Shatter.
Oh my
Come on,
gosh.
man. Give the Earth a break. What does the ground ever do to you? Probably a lot.
Countered
Reinhardt's
electric
really
types from me, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. Well, default 70% to that EMP. These have not been the fight-winning deciders for Marist College in the past, but Taze himself, 80% beating Misu in that Earth Shatter charge. It's going to be his first one, but as long as it's a good one, it's all about quality and not quantity.
Exactly. To take Objective A on Volskaya Industry, all you need is to create some disadvantage and snowball it from there. The swings are coming in. Taze needs to get this Earth Shatter up, but he cannot do it before NP Predator is dropped. And he tries to drop a Shatter and gets destroyed, losing that ultimate. It is now RPI who is snowballing this fight, snowballing the ultimate economy, and have an incredible stranglehold here on Volskaya Industries.
Stranglehold is exactly the word right now. RPI have not sweated at all. I mean, you know, cold environment notwithstanding. Marist College again and again.
Sorry on that one.
I know. Sleeveless in the middle of winter. Anyways, but Marist now do have the EMP here. Very little to combo with. Emerald still, you know, 30% away from that grab.
Oh man, default decloaking way too early right there, giving away his positioning. He has that EMP ready. RPI may be aware, they may not be. It all depends on how they can track the enemy's ultimate economy. But it will not matter if RPI can continue controlling the tempo of these fights and getting picks. Default dies before he can even get an EMP off, and the charge is huge, and the Diva Bomb is even bigger! RPI sends Marist College to their graves with an RIP!
RIP, rest in pieces, baby! Man alive, Misu charges the Trancing Zen out of the ball, turns around 180 Earth Shatter. Somebody please clip that. You do not see these combos every day. And Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute right now, they can smell the victory. 30 seconds separates them from a spot in our grand finals.
This EMP by Marist College is coming up on its first use. They have to capitalize on this if they want any chance at taking Objective A. On the other side though, RPI is looking to secure this entire series, and we lose 1 on each side. This fight is still anybody's to take. It all depends on how this next engagement goes. Cabbage drops the beat and thankfully saves the entirety of the team left on point, but it does not look like it will be enough. RPI. The clock is ticking. Overtime is ticking. RPI are going to the finals of the ECAC Overwatch Collegiate Championship.
RPI, round of applause for a #1 seeded team. Boy, have they shown their stuff today. Marist College gave it their all, but it just wasn't enough against the overwhelming tank presence from both Misu and Daddy Derek.
Oh,
Check
here
this
it is.
out.
Oh, man. Woo-wee!
Oh, that's just, I don't know, I'd be kind of dirty.
That looks illegal in a few states, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There should be laws against that, but RPI, they have, set themselves a pretty good position. Marist College, though, you should pat yourself on the back. That was quite the fight. We saw so many brilliant moments of team play, of individual mechanics shining through. Just gotta, 30 more minutes in the pressure cooker. This team has high potential.
Exactly. Marist College stepping up to the plate, taking a game off of the #1 seed RPI, and they put up a good fight, showing moments of brilliance against this #1 seed. They came in as the underdogs. They had nothing to lose and everything to gain. And if you ask me, they gained some incredible experience, some incredible moments of brilliance, and unfortunately, they just came up short. But that doesn't mean they can't learn from this and apply it to the future.
This is not the end of the road for this team. I'm
Definitely
very
not.
excited for what Marist are going to be bringing in the future. The threshold, again, so high for this team. I mean, the way that they took it yesterday, I hope that, this is just the beginning for this squad.
I cannot wait to see what these boys and girls competing today will be doing in the future. For some of them, this is their first LAN. And Marist, while that may or may not be true for them, they still showed up huge, and I want to applaud them endlessly for what they did. But we must give credit where credit's due.
RPI.
RPI is defining what it means to be a #1 seed, and they may have faltered early on, but that does not mean that they will trip and stumble to the ground. They managed to get back up, secure the next 3 map wins, and send themselves into the finals incredibly decisively.
Yeah, and, hopefully everybody going to be, learning a little something from that VOD.
Exactly. And now we will be sending it to a short break before we go into our next semifinals match. Before we do that,